And away we go. It is the nightcap. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website, get the app. They will deliver right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or head down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up, and you can save yourself 15%. All right, Aaron. I don't want to do it. You don't want to do it.
Sure don't.
But we don't really have a choice. This is what we do.
We could have just done the recording for 12 minutes and been done. Wrap it up tonight.
Yeah. You know me, I'm a glutton for punishment. It's therapy time, Aaron. The people need therapy. One second.
I'm doing the same thing.
As I said, Xavier 84, Cincinnati 79. One of the closer shootouts in recent memory, in terms of the back and forth nature. But I mean, ultimately, Aaron, what it comes down to is pretty simple. And this has been the problem far too often in the Cintas Center when Cincinnati has gone there. And that is Xavier had guys make plays in tight situations, tough situations. Cincinnati didn't. Not enough, at least.
See,
don't give me that.
I already want to
eviscerate you tonight if your takes are bad.
I already want to disagree with you.
Okay, you're wrong, but go ahead.
I think that part of the reason that Cincinnati lost this game was a lack of Jizzle James in the second half.
Okay, that's a terrible take.
Okay. Are you kidding me
right now? 12 points on 5 of 7 shooting in his 12 minutes in the second half.
It wasn't as aggressive as Jizzle James was, though.
Yes, he was.
He also had turnovers. He had some issues.
We're talking about the second half. You want to know why he didn't come out in the second half? It's because he played well, Aaron.
He should have started the second half.
Jizzle James played great in the first half. Davion Thomas played great in the second half. Those two things are both true. In 8 minutes, prior to making a last-second three, in 8 minutes, Jizzle James scored 2 points in the second half. 2 points.
He played like 8.
What scoring?
He played like 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
8 minutes. And Day-Day played 12. It was 12-8.
Day-Day also, when he was on the floor, was -6 on the night, whereas Jizzle was positive.
He was bad in the first half, and Jizzle wasn't. That's why Jizzle played more in the first half.
I think that more happened when Jizzle was on the floor than when Day-Day was on the floor with the team.
I think you remember that he had a great first half, and he didn't play much in the second. And, I mean, Jizzle was +3 in the second half. Day-Day was even, and Jizzle made a 3 with no time left.
I think he should have played more.
I think you're wrong. I think they went with the guy that was playing well.
We can both think the other person is wrong, and that's okay, Chad. That doesn't mean that you're right and I'm wrong.
No, it does. Why would you take Day-Day Thomas out if he's playing well? Now,
he shouldn't have started. He shouldn't have started the second half, is my point.
Here's a conversation that is relevant to have. It's time to play them together. It's time to play them together.
Dan was not good tonight. Seamoss looked like a guy who got hit by a car this week.
I thought Seamoss was okay in the first half. He just missed shots.
Entirely too long of a leash tonight. And I know that's Wes's thing.
Listen, he was one of the few guys that was doing what the offense was trying to get him to do, which was play towards the rim. They didn't play nearly enough downhill in the first half, and that's what caused the problem. Seamoss was one of the only guys that actually did it in the first half.
when I have asked for more downhill, you've told me that my math was wrong.
No, when it's your game plan and it's what you're good at. I told you last year's team couldn't play downhill because they sucked at playing downhill. That's not this year's team.
I've said
those are two completely different teams, Aaron. We're talking about two totally fucking different things.
I have said I just like post game more. Not to do with any team. I just like higher percentage shots more in the post. And you said, well, you just don't know math because 3 is more than 2. And then today you're like,
3, it absolutely is.
Sure, when you're shooting it well, but it's still not as high.
Why did they get back into it in the second half? Because they went downhill and got to the rim because that's what they're good at.
Because that's what most teams should do anyway.
If you have the players that can do it, yes, this team does. So it's part of their game plan. They didn't do it enough in the first half. Simas, that's the whole argument I'm making. Simas was one of the few guys that did what you're talking about and got downhill. He just missed shots. And then in the second half, everybody did it. Newman did it. Jizzle did it. Dede did it. Like that was why they scored 52 points in the second half. Because they played offense how they're supposed to play offense. The first half, it sucked. I mean, I just think it's like you brought up something I said last year.
No, you said this last week. It was like Saturday night, Sunday night when we were doing this show, and you said, you don't know math because 3s are more than 2s.
When they're taking good rhythm 3s and playing the way they're supposed to play, yes.
Coming into this game, they were only 37% from behind the arc.
You had, Aaron, that's one of the top 30 or 40 3-point shooting percentages in the country.
That doesn't mean it's a better shot.
Yes, it does.
No, oh my God, okay.
Aaron, let's do the math again, since you want to bring math into it. If you shoot 50% from 2, you only have to shoot 33% from 3. They are shooting as a team coming into this game 38% from 3. That means you have to shoot almost 60% from 2 to be as effective as a team shooting 38% from 3. That's the fucking math.
Okay. No, when you live by the 3, you die by the 3.
And the first half they did. I'm making your argument. They took bad 3s in the first half.
You should have taken.
I don't like 3s for the sake of taking 3s.
Well, that's what this team does. They've done it all year.
No, it does. Oh my God, you don't sports.
Oh, okay, cool.
They've taken bad 3s all year.
No, I didn't.
Shooting 38% from 3.
God, I never.
They've taken bad 3s all year.
No,
That's what you just said.
No, it isn't. You said, and I quote, "This team shouldn't be," or you said,
Jesus, they shouldn't be taking flat-footed, out of rhythm 3s, which they did today too much. Do you dispute that? They took too many in the first half.
You
bad 3s.
You said you don't think teams should take 3s just to take 3s. I said this team does take 3s just to take 3s.
They did today in the first half, and that's why they scored 27 points.
They do it every game.
No, they don't.
Okay.
They have taken like people here. This is why people mock you in the chat.
Okay.
Or they say they have taken good 3s, a large number of good rhythm 3s all year. That's why they're shooting a high percentage. Tonight in the first half, they didn't. They took bad, out of rhythm, off balance shots that you don't take. And when they did get downhill, they played off balance and they missed shots at the rim as well. That's why the first half sucked. The offense didn't. They played out of whatever it is that what the goal is to accomplish. They didn't do any of that except for Jizzle in the first half. He was outstanding.
Should have started the second half.
Okay, great. And then he comes out, and then Dede plays great in the second half, and you're still mad because Dede played 12 minutes and scored 12 points.
Probably should have only played 5 minutes in the second half. Jizzle was more effective with the team on the floor, but
in the first half. In the second half, he wasn't. He had 2 points in 8 minutes.
Probably should have started.
What does that have to do with the 8 minutes he played?
You're right, Chad. You're right. You're always right. Go ahead.
I'm asking a question.
Go ahead.
What does he should have started have to do with the 8 minutes he played?
Because he
I
played
don't
his
get the
ass
point
off
of Day had a very good second half. He played his ass off.
Okay.
The team was hot garbage in the second half. They scored 52 points in the second. The only reason they had a chance in this game was they made a run early in the first half, and let's forget us arguing. There's really 2 points I think that this game kind of came down to, Aaron. First half, when Jizzle hits that hot streak, they cut it to 18-17. And you're like, all right, they weathered the storm, the emotion, whatever, calm down. And next thing you know, they're down 8 in like 3.5, 4 minutes. Like, and it was, there's a trend, I think, from there. And in the second half that I'm going to talk about is when they got undisciplined. They started doing things that did, like, the reason Jizzle was really good is he put Xavier on their heels, got to the rim, that opened things up a little bit more. Then they go into the second half, they go on the run, start second half, Odie gets the dunk, they go up 3, and then it felt like the next 4 possessions were just guys completely freelancing. Early shot clock 3, like out of rhythm, didn't make any sense. A bad Dan had. What was Dan doing when he acted like he was going to go up this way and then try to go back to his right hand all the way on the other side? What in what world is that a play that's ever worked in your life?
I can't tell you a single thing Dan was doing tonight.
Yeah, he didn't. He was bad. He did not play well at all. At all. I don't know if he's putting too much like weight on himself or I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know where that came from, that Dan. Because it wasn't the Dan that, yeah, he had a rough night on offense the other night, but what did he do? He went and grabbed 12 rebounds. That's a guy you can have on the floor. He was tough to have on the floor tonight. Wes said after the game, he it probably took him too long to move John Newman off of Claude and put him on Oliveri. Yeah. But
I don't know why that wasn't even the game plan going into. The guy came off with 34 points. He's coming off a game with 34 points.
Claude's essentially still their best player, and Newman did a good job slowing him down. CJ Frederick got caught on way too many screens, got caught on way too many, there was the one jab step that Oliveri created, 3-4 feet of space. And then when you let a guy get hot, then he starts chucking them from 28 feet with a hand in his face, and he doesn't care because it's going in. I mean, I probably agree with you that I would have had Newman on Oliveri, but I also think there's something to Aaron that, like, Claude's the only guy on that team that had played in this thing. And Xavier tried to go to him early. And I mean, he made, I think, one 3 and got to the line a couple times. But he didn't look like an alpha. And I thought John did a good job slowing that down. But once Oliveri starts, flame throwing, CJ wasn't the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't notice. You notice when they did move Newman over to him, he didn't score really anymore. I think he scored at the free throw line.
I think that goes back to if Dan's off. I don't know if he's having a horrible night. And you talked about playing both Day and Jizzle at the same time. That may have been the route to go tonight.
Well, Dan was off, CJ was off. Like, I mean, those were 2 guys that both at least were attempting to be aggressive and play downhill and attack Xavier. So how much more difficult for it does it become if you have both of them on the floor? Because as soon as they turned a corner on X's defense all night, they were at the rim, right? Both of
them.
Yeah. It's frustrating. But those two stretches, when you go back to it, the reason that they both happened is because they got away from what in the first one, like pulled them back to even or 18-17, whatever. And then started the second half, they had 4 layups and a kick out 3 to go on. It was 14 to 5 run in the first segment of the second half. And then you come back out, and in the next segment, you let X go 17 to 9.
Well, having, I think, 2 different spots in the first half where you score no points for 3-minute intervals.
Yeah.
That's dreadful in the first half.
And look, the first half, the offense was just like it and some
lethargic.
Of it just has to come down. Well, it was just lazy. Like they were taking all of the wrong shots. Like there was nothing that was like when you practice offense every day, at no point was the shot taken like where it's taken in practice and everybody goes, hey, good job. They go, no, what the fuck was that?
I think a lot of that had to do with Xavier. Like Xavier had excellent transition defense. Like Cincinnati in the first half was not really running with the ball.
Yeah, but you have to. It's one of the things I talked about Wednesday with Dave. I think like you can't let their guards just hang out around here because they can defend you like that. When you turn their shoulders, that's when they are more prone to getting beat. And for a lot of the first half, they allowed Xavier to kind of dictate where the ball was. Some of that was, I don't think, Vic was clearly not where he needed to be in the first half. He was excellent in the second. But, you got to have that guy that you can throw the ball to and get a bucket. That's not Aziz. It's clear that's not Aziz. They don't do it very often to begin with. But yeah, Xavier dictated the entire first half defensively. I would agree with you completely there. They pushed Cincinnati around and made them uncomfortable in that first half.
Odie at -19 is atrocious.
Yeah. I mean, I don't overreact either way to plus minus numbers. I need to see a little bit more in terms of but it would match up, Aaron, that he was in probably off the bench in both of those stretches that we're talking about.
I didn't know what I mean?
Like sub patterns.
I didn't love the rotations he was in.
It's typical, like standard, and the fouls kind of changed that. Like Vic and Aziz both had 2 fouls early, and then both had 3 fouls early. That forces you to kind of have to do Keegan. He's gonna get the Ed treatment.
Put him in timeout.
Yeah, I just Xavier dictated the first half, and then by the time Cincinnati did what the game plan was, what they were supposed to be doing, you're down 10, and you claw back and then instantly give it away. Like that's the killer right there, right? Everybody talks about when you're down big at halftime, how much energy it takes to get back to even. Well, they did that in 3 minutes. Like no energy necessary. Back in the game. And then you let them go on a 12-2 run or whatever it was, and they're up 10. It can't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. When you have guys, Aziz and Vic playing with foul trouble, God, Vic in particular just stops playing defense. Just stops.
Yeah, he does get a little out in his head about not committing a foul, afraid that if he moves his feet and raises his arms, it's instantly going to be a foul.
But that foul he had where he was frustrated God, if he could just stop it with the frustration foul, like, I don't know. It just seems that there's once a game where he's getting a frustration foul.
Yeah, he does. Well, the third foul was just, what are you doing, dude? Like, you have to know.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't do that. Don't. Just don't. Stop. Yeah, Vic had 2 fouls in the backcourt in the first quarter. Like, it's just dumb stuff. Dumb stuff. Brock, no. Vic we've known this. He's been here long enough that we should know by now he's a very emotional player.
And they were trying to bait him a couple different times where there was a shoulder directly into the chest, just in passing as they were going to their timeouts. They were trying to bait him into a fight.
And it worked. Well, they weren't trying to bait him into a fight. They were trying to bait him into those fouls. Because that's what he does when he gets
emotional.
When it's emotional and when his confidence starts to drop. Like, that's unfortunately kind of what you have to battle against with him. Now, give him credit. He was tough in the second half. This game's not even close if Vic doesn't do what he did in the second half. So,
agreed.
Some people need to, like, just, I know it's after the game. Everybody's emotional. They want to get their hot takes in. But they're not even close. Now, was he bad in the first half? Yeah. The only person that wasn't bad in the first half was Jizzle. Nobody else was good at anything. Wes, every player, like, I'm not sure what else you say. Like, that would have been another one of those, oh my God, they're down 15 at half if Jizzle doesn't do what he did in the first half.
And then Wes tells him that you're going to play only 8 minutes in the second half. So
you're gonna die on that hill. It's a bad argument, and you're sticking to it.
Disagree.
Okay. CJ Anthony would have made more threes. Here's the other thing. Xavier had, like, there were 2 guys kind of vying for this between John Newman and Davion McKnight. That guy that was kind of gonna be that extra push over the edge. And Newman was very good in the second half. Very good in the second half. He had 14 points. He was 5 of 6 from the floor, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds. He had an assist and a steal. He was plus 12. But McKnight made the shot. UC gets it to 4. I think that was when they had Aziz shuffled his feet, and then McKnight comes down and bangs a 3, and 4 goes to 7, when it could have been, if Aziz catches it clean and dunks, it's a 2-point game. Cincinnati has all the momentum. I don't know if Aziz there, but
Rachel's watching that game with me for the last 5 minutes. She didn't watch a single. She was out for a Christmas party and watched the last 5 minutes. And that particular play, she said, "Why didn't he go up with that ball?" And I said, "That's a great question."
He was catching it, and he fumbled it like after he caught it, so he shuffled his feet. Where they called the walk because he was running down the fast break. He was trying to go up and dunk it. That was the whole point, but he caught it, bobbled it, and then shuffled his feet, so it's travel. And they go down and hit a 3, and what could have been 2 becomes 7, and then you're in trouble. He could have easily gone up with it if he had control of it, but that's also why it's very difficult to throw to a 7'2" guy as he's running with, like, guys around. They don't, they're not one of their strong suits usually is catching on the move in traffic. And it was a delayed pass from Dan. Probably should have got it to him sooner. Or like more where he had space.
Par for the course for Dan's night.
And had a bad night. He did not make decisions well at all. I love that Wolfie and Keegan have just the exact opposite takes. I mean, the hard part with CJ is you have to have your offense working to find him open, because if not, nobody's going to leave him. Coming into the night, he was shooting 56% from three. So teams are just going to tag him. And you kind of have to get that defender to pull off and like peel off a little bit. Now, he did have two tonight. I thought he probably he's hit in the past over the last 7 games. Those are shots he's hit. The one where he pump faked and then went left and had an open look, and then another one on the baseline. Those are ones he has made, but then he rushed to that. It was just like he was trying to hot potato it out of his hand as quickly as he could. I'm not sure what the answer is right now with hot and cold CJ. You know what I mean? Because there's always the possibility if you leave him on the floor, he's going to hit 3 in 40 seconds, 90 seconds. It's a conundrum, Aaron.
What we were worried about was if 1 or 2 guys had an off night.
Yeah. How about lots of them?
Now we know what it looks like when 3 or 4 guys have an off night.
And it doesn't look good, Aaron.
No, it doesn't. I want to go back to a mailbag question. Would I rather have Landers Nolly or anybody from last year? I'm changing it. I don't want Dave anymore. I would take a Landers Nolly.
Yeah.
For tonight, I would have gladly taken a Landers Nolly.
Yeah. Yeah. Grade for West tonight. Probably a C minus. Didn't get them right enough in the first half, but did get them right at halftime enough to where they pushed and made a challenge. But he has to take responsibility for that first half because it was bad. So, but C minus, something like that.
I'll say D plus.
Okay.
Should have adjusted Newman sooner, and probably should have started Jizzle in that second half.
And I agree. I mean, like I said, I probably would have started Newman on Oliveri, but in the first half, Oliveri was 1 of 6 and 1 of 3 from 3. So what you're seeing, you think is working, and then he comes out and he just has that stretch where he hits 3 threes and blacks out for a minute. And it's easy to say should have done it sooner. And I would have. That's the guy I would have put him on to begin with. But
I think he started second half 5 of 5, didn't he?
Yeah, but I'm saying there was that stretch, like right after Cincinnati took the lead by 3, and he hit 3 of them. I think just more each, and the 4-point play was included in there too. Each more ridiculous than the first. The one right on the sideline next to the bench. The one where he didn't get touched and flopped and they called a foul. But, yeah, I mean, I agree that I would have had him on him. But, the first half stats show that what the original game plan worked. He was 1 of 6 from the floor. He just got very, very hot in the second half. And Reed's right. He did have 2 transition threes where it wasn't about who was guarding him, but there were a couple that were also in the flow of the offense, Reed. And it's also notable, Reed, because once they did put Newman on him, that was really about it. The combo of James and Thomas scored 31. All realistic UC fans can say that Jizzle's way better than Day-Day. That's just not factual. He's ramping up, but they're pretty even right now in their performance, and outside of what Jizzle had one better 4-minute stretch against Howard than Day had. But again, I think the conversation needs to be, is it time to get them on the floor together?
Well, Jizzle's shown up in both of the close games.
Yeah, well, he showed up for 4 minutes against Howard, which was 4 minutes more than Day did. So he gets credit for that. But Day showed up today.
I'm just had it not been for Jizzle's first half, I don't know.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. They didn't have what Jizzle gave him in the first half. We would have won this game with Coach Prime. No. They would have allowed 14 sacks, and the secondary would have got torched. Thanks, Fitzy. It says, as a Xavier fan, I have mad respect for what Wes has going on there. I'm sure that's sarcastic, but whatever. I thought Jizzle was set up for a Lance Stevenson shootout performance. It looked like it for a little bit, and then he cooled off a little. I wonder how much was. I do wonder how much. Whatever it looked like, they were looking at his back at the end of the first half when they pulled him over to the side, like took him out of the game. It looked like Mangine was looking at his back, so I wonder if that tightened up a little bit, which is a possibility. I agree, Mark. Vic can't lose his cool like he did in the first half. He dominated like he should in the second half, but right, he let people get physical with him, and it got in his head. I mean, if he plays like he did in the first half, we're having a different conversation tonight. If he plays like he did in the second half, in the first half, like right from the jump, we're having a different conversation. Yeah, he did get bumped on a layup and landed awkward, which I want, like that tailbone kind of lower back area is what looked like was sore. Wolfie. Needed more from Aziz. I mean, yes and no. He's just not somebody that's you're gonna throw the ball to in the post and have him get you a bucket. That's not who he is.
There were 2 or 3 terrible lobs to him.
Yeah.
Just terrible. Horrible. I think CJ Fredericks hit the side of the backboard. And he had, don't get me wrong, CJ had at least one good lob to him. But
yeah,
there were 2 or 3 just awful passes to Aziz.
It's part of that belief, Aaron, that they can just throw it anywhere and Aziz is going to go get it for him.
Yeah.
Just throw it. He'll go get it. Well, he's got to be moving. Like the one, he was just standing flat-footed underneath on the side of the rim. He's not going to get a whole lot of lift in that situation.
Wes, you can't throw it too high to Aziz. CJ, hold my beer.
Hold my beer, yeah. Are there any adjustments the program needs that need to be made? These are the same recurring problems every year. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't get caught up in that. They've gone to Maui and played like one of the toughest Maui fields of all time and still lost the shootout at home. Like they played 2 great teams there. They played really tough schedules before the shootout and lost. So it's not that. Like, trust me, what they say in public is not how practices are run when it comes to this game. Would it make fans feel better if Wes was like, this is the most important game of the year? Sure. But they treat it like a rivalry game. The intensity all week is on 9, 11, 12, whatever you want to call it.
I don't think that was lost on the players, as you saw Aziz almost go to blows in the first minute of the game with their big down low on that jump ball.
Usman.
Usman, yeah.
How can Delaware bully X down low and UC settled for more threes with poor results? Because they didn't attack in the first half, Jamie. That's what we talked about. Like, and when they did, it was off balance. It wasn't. Go look at, like, if you could put a side by side of the shots they took around the rim in the first half and the second half, you would see why they scored 27 points in the first half and 52 in the second. They were collected, aggressive, like, outside of Jizzle. I want to see something real quick.
That's what I like to call a trap game. Delaware was a trap game.
So, oh man, hold on. Is that right? 14 and 8. No. Okay. 22 of their 27 points in the first half were either Jizzle or offensive rebound, like putbacks. So
that's how you earn a start in the second half.
Good fucking God, Aaron. 18 points in the paint in the first half. I would guess all but Jizzle's 3 and his 1 free throw, like 4. So 10 of his points came in the paint. Like, it just so bad in the first half. So bad. And then defensively in the second half, you don't get it done. If you do a better job controlling them in the second half, you score 52 and this game is down to the wire. Instead, they give up 49 and X is able to kind of maintain control. I think they did, Jamie. I just don't think they did it well enough. I don't think they executed it well enough. When they got to the rim, they were taken uneven, off balance. Hold on. First half box. Layups. That's right. That is not right at all. I'm confused. It's saying in the first half, Cincinnati was excellent on layups, and they weren't. I guess it's just the whole game. It's not breaking. It's not breaking down the.
I'm seeing 16 of 28 total.
That's for the game.
Yeah.
And that's because they were awesome at it in the second half. But when you click first half box and second half box, it just says 16 of 28. So it's just the game number. But that's kind of my point, is they did get downhill. They just took terrible shots when they did. Or they settled and they let X push them too far out, I thought, just to initiate their offense in the first half. No, they shot a decent number of layups or shots in the paint in the first half. I'm telling, they only took 10 threes in the, or no. See, why is it so wrong? I'm so confused. They took 30 shots in the first half. 10 of them were threes. 12. I mean, get your crap together, Xavier. Yeah, they were 12 of 40 in the first half. 13 of them were threes. They missed 13, 14 shots in the first half from 2. Yeah. I just don't. I thought Cincinnati hustled. I thought they didn't make shots and they took bad shots. I don't think it was lack of like effort. They were even on the glass. They had a bunch of offensive rebounds. They got second. The first half they had 10 offensive rebounds and only 8 second chance points. I think that's a problem too. When you get the chance.
Tony, weed, it's legal now.
Oh boy. Dan was bad today. I don't know how many times you guys want us to say it. He didn't get the job done. UC could be in trouble. My goodness. Now, the thing is, they are going to have to learn from this that what the plan is on offense works. Do that.
Sorry about your luck, Tony.
You asked. Yeah, like, you know. Yeah. They lost the game of runs. Like I said, Reed, I thought the two most important were you get it to 18-17 in the first half, off the back of, Jizzle playing really, really well and kind of pulling you back into the game. And next thing you know, it's 25-17. You can't continue to allow them to create that type of separation. And then, you have the incredible start to the second half. You go up 43-40. And then next thing you know, you're down 10, 57-47. 17-4 run, 17-3 run. Those two right there are the two positions. And then, like I said, the three that takes it from down 4 to down 7. How much time was left when that happened? Do you remember, Aaron?
No.
Minute 37 left is when that happened. So, yeah, you're scratching and clawing. Get it back to 4. Boom. McKnight hits the 3 on you. And, it doesn't get any closer than, 5 the rest of the way? Final number? Yeah.
And that was only after a Jizzle 3 at the buzzer.
Yeah. And Day hit one, banked one in right before that to cut it to 6.
The bank was definitely open.
Oh. No, I mean, it has to be a learning opportunity, Chelsea. You lost. You better figure out what went wrong in the first half, what short-circuited, why the offense didn't work. You're not supposed to feel good about that, but that's what has to happen. I mean, nobody feels good right now. They lost for the 5th time in a row to Xavier. Yeah, and, the CMOS thing, did you just throw up in your mouth a little?
Yeah. What are you going to say about the CMOS thing?
You got to get him back as close to, you got to get him back to 100% because the offense just runs better when he's in rhythm and on the floor.
Well, and if he wasn't 100%, then I don't know what he was. Honestly, I don't know what he was doing out there tonight.
I mean, we don't know that answer. That is, but I'm talking about even if he's back to 100%, Aaron, he's been out for 10 days. It does take a little time when you haven't been. It's not like he's been able to practice and he's been out 10 days. He literally, physically, has not been able to work for 10 days. So you're going to have to work some of that off somehow or another. It sucks that it was this game, but and more importantly, you've got to get him back to in the flow of playing with this team because how do you win if CJ, Dan, and CMOS give you 4 points?
Yeah. Well, CJ, Dan, 4 points total between them.
Yeah.
2 for 20. Ugh.
Yeah. you can't expect, it doesn't matter that Xavier's down. But when your best players do that, you're in trouble. And their best players play well. I mean, I thought they did a good job on Claude. I didn't think Claude played particularly well. But it doesn't matter because Oliveri was lighting you up. It is what it is. What else you got? Anything?
No.
You guys got anything else you want to talk about other than irrational venting and being angry?
Not a lot of assists
5
tonight.
of 15, huh?
Not a lot of assists tonight. Only 15 assists on 32 field goals, 74 shots.
I wish I could tell you how many they had in the first half. I think it would probably be very telling, wouldn't it, Aaron? 6.
6 of the 12 field goals, 40 shots,
and then 9 of 20. I mean, some of that in the second half was just day, attacking the rim straight downhill. So not a lot of passing there, but 6 first half assists, 9 in the second half. Yeah, didn't move the ball well enough when they did. And give Xavier's credit defensively in the first half. They made it tough. They kind of pushed Cincinnati out, like I talked about, and didn't let them get into that area where you're comfortable playing downhill. But you gotta knock them out of that. You got to play them out of that. If they're being over aggressive, you have to be able to take advantage of it, which I thought they did in the second half. But that doesn't do you any good. How different is this game if they score 34 in the second half and 52 or 34 in the first half, 52 in the second? Yep, Randy, they laid a big old egg. X played better. There's no other way to say it. I mean, what? X shot 47% from 3. UC shot 22. And then 80%, 85% from the line to 63. Ain't going to win many games that way. Ain't going to win many games that way. Crazy thing is, Aaron, UC made 5 more field goals than Xavier did. 32 made.
12 less free throws.
Yeah. Well, they fouled too much, 1. But 2, I did think there was a stretch in the middle of that second half or first half that I didn't agree with. That unfortunately stacked a few fouls on a couple guys. Some of you are. I like the idea of Thomas and James playing at the same time, especially when you're not making many perimeter shots. Yeah. I mean, just in that specific, what they were trying to do, what Xavier's not good at. I want as many guys that can turn their shoulders and get to the rim on the floor as possible. Next, making their free throws didn't help. Yeah, Reed, that just really poor, really poor free throw defense from Cincinnati. Something you're gonna have to get back in the lab and figure that out. All right. I don't think we have much left here. So Xavier 84, Cincinnati 59. 7-1 for the Bearcats. They get Bryant, who you're going to have to, I think that game's in 3 days, Tuesday, right? So you're going to have to get your head back on and get ready for a decent mid-major. And then get ready for Dayton next Saturday, because now that you have not beat Xavier, you better beat Dayton. Or else your non-con, even at 11-2, didn't do much to help you. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks to everybody from tuning in. We will see you next time. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.